your lifestyle, how you're practicing life, is a direct reflection. If God forbid something happens to you, how does this look? That's what's on my mind. So how does that benefit Bobby? Every decision, every action, every person I involve myself with matters. What you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, matters. Whether you realize what you're saying yes and no to, it matters.
It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce one of the most important men in my life and one of my favorite human beings alive, Bobby Castro.
Bobby Castro.
Thank you. You know, man, I come with no motives. I continue to say this. And man, just good intentions. It took me such a long time to understand that. And what I want to do right now is to give you a lot of value, things, steps, things you could do right now to change your life. You're looking at somebody that was not the person I am now, back then, nor yesterday or last month. I see constant improvement, and more kindness comes out of me, man. I keep getting more yeses. I become a magnet to life with opportunities, relationships. And I didn't understand this. Even being a waiter for many years at the Rusty Pelican in Miami, I was a waiter. And then these awesome individuals that are serving us. All these individuals in the bleachers, the catering, that was me and my family. What I'm about to represent to you is 100% fact. It's not made up, it's not exaggerated. These steps led me living in affordable housing with an incredible mother, a waitress, nonstop, that lived on a couch. Started my journey. If you want to know more about it, there's a book. You can find some stuff on the internet. I don't want to spend any time on that. I want to get to these steps. And these steps, guys, led me from being a waiter, no education, no self-confidence, no nothing, but a lot of bad history in leather. Took me to start making $10,000. This is tax returns, guys. This is not just a verbal here. I'm shooting out here on the internet, man. I'm real. I don't want nothing from you. I want your attention. I want your phones down. You came here to get value to change your life, and it's going to be so hard to do what I'm going to ask you to do. This took me 5, 10,000, 20,000, 25,000, making 50,000 a year, moving, making 60, getting to that $100,000 stage, breaking through the 100,000, getting to the 150, getting to the 250, getting to the $500,000. Then getting into the million. I stayed parked there a little bit. Then I got to the million. I got to the 5 million. This is personal income tax returns, paying Uncle Sam. $10 million a year, $15 million a year, $20 million a year, $25 million a year. You're looking at this individual. Besides building enterprise value in my life, creating valuation within me, I also figured it out, man. I figured it out because I stayed true to myself, and I had to deal with myself, guys. I blame and I'm accountable for everything that happens to me in my life, good, bad, or ugly. These steps, I didn't realize how powerful they were, and then I started putting them together years later. I'm 56 years old, man. My passion is my grandkids. I told some of you, man, I'm all about legacy. From this point forward, I can control it. What I do, what I say, how I do life, how I behave life, how I stand up tall and have that integrity with my grandbabies. I can't do anything about the past other than learning from it. And then I realized something very, very important, patterns. Even today, I practice what I'm gonna ask you to start practicing too. And you're gonna agree, there's a lot of you, you can see what to do. Think bigger, surround yourself with people, all that stuff, scale your business, relationships. You understand it. You will nod your head like I did many years ago when I was an Amway distributor. I tried everything. It's so important, your patterns. Each of you you're on a pattern. Patterns lead to routines. Those routines lead to habits. When a habit stays around for a while and a long time, the odds go against you more and more and more and more. You build up these habits that come from patterns that develop and form into routines. These constant routines form what? Habits. Patterns are a GPS. That's a direction that you're going in life. And I'm going to give you an example. I like to break my pattern up to the point where it's too extreme. My wife will tell you. I go so extreme, I'll go from one day to the next day, stop having a beer for 18 months. This was the last 18 months I did that. I break my patterns constantly because a lot of you see a dude like Bobby, Sophie, they did it. They're telling you how they did it, but you just can't seem to do it. Does that make sense? Who falls victim to that? That was me. But understand the routines that you're doing today, from the patterns that led you to these routines that ultimately are guiding you and developing these habits, you are getting these outcomes today. You're a go-getter. You're one heck of a salesperson. You're a leader. Whatever the traits are, but you seem like you cannot get there. How did this individual do it? I had to break these patterns. I break them constantly right now, every day. Even in my personal relationships. You know and I know when things are not going, they're going a little wobbly. You know what you're creating is really not being created. You know this. You have to recognize the pattern, because if you allow this pattern to continue to take a little step and you know it, man, my sales, I've been parked here for $500,000 a year and I can't get out of it. Look back. Take a friggin' moment. Look back in these routines. You have to have a look back. In the corporate life, one thing I realized, it's called, and some of you know this, swap in, swap out. In order to swap something in, you have to swap something out. Jack Welch, who's no longer here, one of the best CEOs of General Electric, GE, had an incredible discipline protocol. Every year, 10% of thousands of people, 10% of them get automatically cut. Question is, what is your policy in your life? How come your business is not growing? Well, Bobby, it is. I'm rocking. I'm crushing it. I'm wearing a Rolex. I have all these stats to say. Really? You know and I know that that's nothing. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your time. I can assure you, each of you, look left and look right. They don't care about your kids. They got their own issues. They got their own freaking kids. Those are your kids. You chose to bring them in. And what do? How dare you? Build up these routines, and you tell these kids, watch who you hang out with, you better do this, and you're practicing it. You're actually practicing it. Can you imagine if you do something and you think about and you make that list tonight, and I'm asking you to do that? And really execute on it. Be very mindful. I want you to win, man. Right now, I'm very radical. I can break patterns because I'm very good at it because I have practiced it. I build up a habit. See, there's good habits and bad habits. And the reason I know my habits are good, I'm feeling good. I'm creating wealth in my family. I'm creating legacy. I am witnessing and seeing my children and my grandchildren, how they're doing life. I have data to keep me saying, okay. But once that data changes slightly, I'm breaking the pattern. I'm looking back at my routines. This dude. This is the dude. or this is that, or I didn't do this. Because you're procrastinating, you have excuses, you're the smartest freaking person in the room, you can't even be talked to you because you're so reactive. Because you don't want to be like that. You have just built up a habit, and it's been there for a while. It only takes 90 days, a year, and it's so hard to unwind if you don't go back. Break the pattern. Stop! Stop it right there. Look back, go back into the data, and you will find out why you're not growing your business, why you're not creating wealth, because I am about net worth. When it comes to financial aspects, the only thing you want to focus on is your net worth. It's a direct data point to tell you if you're creating wealth. Personal freedom, that's an internal feeling. Because I always say, guys, you don't lie to yourself. You can lie to me, you can lie to everyone else. But you know and I know, left to right, they don't care about your kids. You die now. Millions of people didn't wake up today that they guarantee they thought they were going to wake up today. That happens to you. Look back, and how does that look in your legacy? How is that negatively going to impact this or that or that? Because that's pain points that can carry forward for many years and generations and ruin lives. Your lifestyle, how you're practicing life, is a direct reflection. If God forbid something happens to you, how does this look? That's what's on my mind. So how does that benefit Bobby? Every decision, every action, every person I involve myself with matters. What you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, matters. Whether you realize what you're saying yes and no to, it matters. Why? Because a pattern turns into what? A routine. A routine eventually turns into what? A habit. That is why some of you, most of you, if not all of you, including me, we constantly build up habits quickly. It does not take long for this. This is how I was able to scale a company from $1,700, guys, in the form of communication. Is powerful. But in order for me to communicate with you as I am today, I had to practice it. I had to receive results. You can't deny the passion I have right now. I am totally sold on this concept. And I have the data to prove, guys, it's here, it's working. That's why I get so crazy. But then I realize they know. They'll buy into what I'm saying. They just can't seem to do it because your routines. For example, if you choose to wake up tomorrow, as I do, at 4:45 in the morning, regardless if you tell me, Bobby, I'm a rock star, man. I wake up, I'm crushing it, I'm working out. I don't care. Get up at 3:45, you get up at 4:45. The point being is that you got to break the pattern. And then what's going to happen? Boredom. That void, you're going to stay lost. Read my book. I talk heavily about it. You'll stay lost and bored, and there is what's going to go and convince you to go back to what you know. Because habits, that's your safe zone without knowing it. I spoke to a few of you yesterday in these one-on-ones. You don't realize some of you guys have incredible businesses. It's like, how does this guy not scale this? How is he only doing $5 million when he should be doing 50? He's used to it. He's used to crawling. See, there's a lot of people, including my family, they're very good at financial struggle. They're very good at all this complications, drama, victim-y. They're good people, man. I love them. But they had a pattern that led to these habits. Every day you allow your habits to hang with you, guys, the odds are against you. The odds are against you. And I know you're so confident. Not me, Bobby. Not me. Not me. I'm ready. Don't be that smartest person. I have to do this every single day. Every single day. I'm so obsessed. So can you imagine tomorrow morning, 3 people. I want you to just look at 3 people. Let go of 3 people in your life. Love them from a distance. I want you tonight, you and your spouse, yourself, whatever your ecosystem, and when you're making that decision, I want you to think about these kids or your future kids. I want you to think about, God forbid, Bobby, something happens to you. Now I accepted God, and now I know. I feel good about that, number one. Thank you. Trying to figure that out. Thank you, Pastor Keith and Ryan. How does it look? My gosh, what happens, man? It freaked me out. And I started getting what? Clarity. Let go of 3 people tonight. Don't write, you don't have to write them down now. You can write down, let go of 3 people, but don't write their names, because I want you to mindfully think of these 3 individuals. And then, why do you want to let them go? And when you let go of somebody, man, you give them a French kiss. It's a nice let go. It's simply just fade. Fade with kindness. Because guess what? You give it energy, you give it focus, you give the whole story, it stays there. It doesn't go away. Pick 3 people tonight. If you can't find 3, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Get up at 4:45 in the morning. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just get up. Get up. You're going to have nothing to do. And I'm begging you, literally begging you, when you get up, don't go on social media. Because I can assure you, something happens to you, Bobby, and I keep burning, spending, giving away my non-refundable minutes because I don't get them back. I only have one life. I have a mission. I want to break this chaos that I come from, and I want to start here. You don't get these minutes back. So imagine waking up at 4:45, and I guarantee you, not 99, 100% of you will get on social media. You will get on social media, and you will burn your life away. But yet, you think you're going to live forever. Yet you think you're crushing it. Yet you think all this stuff. I said something the first day. You can make a lot of money. I was really good on making a lot of money. Horrible at creating money. You want to create money. That's so exciting when you say, man, how do I do that? Because if you go to these habits you have, procrastination, excuses, you're the smartest person, you just think you have communication skills, you are still tricking the customer to buy your product or service, you are still working hard, not smart. I would challenge you to go back into your routines that involve people, things what you're doing, things are what you're saying yes and no to. I promise you, man, giving you my testimonial, I didn't hit a lotto ticket, I didn't get a bank loan, I was a waiter. We have earned hundreds of millions of dollars. We duplicated, not only in that business we sold for $1 billion, we duplicated in our investments, our other, businesses. In my marriage, 33 years, it got better. It got better. I was not the greatest husband. I was that complicated Bobby that knew it all. I was just so stubborn. Me, I. My relationship and my marriage started just growing. Everything started growing. Can you imagine that? Now, I'm 56 years old. I didn't have another Bobby to give me this information, to drive it in my friggin' soul. I didn't have any masterminds. I didn't even have an internet, man. If you read my book, it was all about classified ads. I was addicted on the classified ads. You, on the other hand, you have so much resources, but yet I just seem like I just can't do it. And I look at you, this lady, this dude, a rock star, unbelievable. But the reason you can't just do it is because you're so ingrained in these habits that you don't realize it comes from what? Your routines. From the day, the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, I would beg you to look at your routine. And then what I'm going to ask you guys, stop lying to yourself. If you say you're not going to procrastinate, If you claim this or that, I am so cautious of what I say yes to, say no to, say what I'm gonna do, and not do it. I never had a narcotic drug issue ever. No alcohol or nothing. I've seen that damage in my family. I have my kids, my family, my grandchildren witness Papa break patterns. From one day to the next, no, I don't have a beer. And they see me. And then when everyone tells me, man, Bobby, that's so hard. How do you do it? It gets me so pumped up because I'm saying, man, I am that 1%. And every time I hear it, it keeps me going. It got me going for 18 months. I just broke the pattern because I realized I was waking up. You remember I tell you I wake up early, but I wasn't popping out. It's kind of wobbling out. And then I started getting a little sloppy on some of my decisions, and I started not feeling good. I registered that inside. Look back. Hung around here way too long. Sure enough, so that was many other data points that I broke. I constantly do this because I have a role and responsibility, guys. I want to impact my generation. Legacy wealth. I don't want to be a Vanderbilt. A Vanderbilt means this. I'm not talking bad about the Vanderbilts. They did so much in this country, but they kept going like this. Get a little more from the piggy bank, go flash dance, do all this stuff. Sooner or later, now it's zero. There's nothing. I want to be the Rockefeller. I want to stack and rack. I want to be true to myself. See this watch? I love it. It does everything for me. It serves the need. I don't need to wear a Rolex to impress you. I used to be a big flash dancer. I talk heavily about that in my book. I needed that attention. I needed you to tell me how good I was doing. I was really like formed this habit that was completely destroying my life, destroying my marriage, destroying everything in front of me and my potential. Some of you are doing that. You think because other people on social media tell you, no, without the flash dance, you're gonna get no one's attention. Well, you know what? Put them on stage with me. What did you make? What did you earn? How did you create it? So you better watch what you're saying yes to, because that's what you're saying yes to by viewing that social media, all those flash dancers that need what? Your attention. And now you become addicted. Heroin, coke, meth, alcohol, everyone wants to pick on these people. They just had a pattern that formed a routine, that ultimately formed a habit. They allowed it to go. Whew, now they can't get off. The only way they can get off is how? Them. Your problems and solutions. You tell me, what is the difference? Procrastination, not taking care of your kids, all these fathers walking around America, having all these kids, which takes you 2 seconds. A father's being there. All this stuff you see. All this stuff you see. So every time you commit to something and you say something, I'm gonna do this or do that, and then you lie, you're convincing people that you're doing better than what you are, you're doing more damage in your journey. I met somebody yesterday on a one-on-one. Took advantage of that. Incredible people. Thank you for your time. This individual, and I loved it, for years, he had a different name. He was Ricky, Bobby, I'm Pepe, because he was hiding from authorities. He lived this life. Then he hit a wall. His runway ran out. He was locked up in county jail, 33 days. They all know who he is. They know it's not his real name. That's why they're not letting him go. Ricky, and I'm making up the name, Ricky Bob, get in the bus, we're transferring you. He doesn't get up. And they're looking at him. Ricky, you say your name is Ricky, we know it's not, but come on, let's go. He doesn't get up. He says, that's not my name. I'm done. My name is Bobby Castro. I'm done. I'm done lying. I'm done doing life this way. This individual made a decision there. He was a cook at a restaurant, 14 years, greasing that pan. Eventually opened a business, saving money, stacking rack. And today, this individual is making millions of dollars in sales. He has an incredible business model that I am fascinated on, that there's no question in my mind within 5 to 7 years, he could sell this thing for $300 million. He knows it. He really doesn't know it. He's getting there. And I challenge this guy to really, really get focused. And how to get focused comes from what? Clarity. How do you get clarity? Break these patterns that are part of these routines, that are part of the reason you're stuck somewhere in your life. It could be your marriage. It could be anything, including your business. You could even join this great organization here, pay your membership, and not activate that membership, meaning not leaning into this ecosystem. Because when you join a mastermind or an organization to get value and be surrounded by people, guess what? Amazon is not going to deliver you success. You got to get in this ecosystem. It's your duty, your job for those kids to meet every member on Zoom, find out what they do, how can you connect, how can you give them value, how can you establish relationships, instead of coming to the conference, hanging out with the same 5 people. You have hundreds of people here, and you did not work this conference by meeting everyone and anyone. And you know what? That $1,700, that eventually took us to a $1 billion sale. If it wasn't for me to activate Bobby Castro, I would have never met the person that was part of that journey. And that person would have never opened value to me if I BS. See, quality, they see the BS. Quality sees the flash answers. Quality sees this inconsistency. So when you surround yourself and you swim around that ecosystem, be aware you're wasting your time by trying to trick people. You're pausing your life. You're suffocating your life. You're looking at an individual that was not the individual way back when. Had no money, guys. Had no credit. No investors. There was none of that stuff. Me and my wife created this with this journey. And we did it within 20 years. Now, 20 years doesn't have to be you. I explained why it took us 20 years. If I had the information as you guys do today, and if you activate yourself, you can do it in 10 years. Do not let voids in your life. A void is in your life is this. Sophie and I will have a little disagreement, and if you allow it to hang around, and you just, whatever, close the door, go to work, whatever, it still lingers around, and then you're in bed, like my wife said, and it takes so long to repair it. Can you imagine that is the same thing you're doing in other forms of habits? You just don't realize it. The reason you don't realize it, you're so used to it. If you're making $200,000 a year and you can't get away from 200 and go to 500, there's something going on in your routine. There's an improvement constantly. I am on the journey of improving myself every single day, and I'm getting rewarded. It's like, it's better than drugs. It's like, I want more. I want to feel great. I feel so good right now. I'm so proud of myself. I said that only a few times in my life. I feel really proud of myself, of who I am. Because when I decided to be Bobby Castro and not Ricky Garcia, Flash Dancer Eddie, whatever, my life took off. I can't tell you how I feel, and that's called personal freedom. My wife said it best, you can have it all. Question is, are you willing with a lot of intentions to look at these routines? And then, are you willing with a lot of intentions, be aware of your patterns? You are creating patterns right now. They could be good patterns or bad patterns. You need to recognize these bad patterns. They build into routines that form habits, and if you allow it to hang around, your odds are against you. You are burning your non-refundable minutes and being the smartest person on the planet and being stubborn. I'm telling you guys, you're witnessing somebody here that actually got the results. You control this. You can't control luck, but you can control your habits. Patterns are where you're going, where you're heading to. It's doing this. What you want is here. Bobby wants this. I see this. Oh, I got to get away from these patterns. Now I'm on the routine to get me there. See, I'm looking at it. You're always going to be faced this. Break the pattern. Looking around. And man, it's like a video game. It's so awesome. You can become financially free, personally free. You can feel good about yourself. You can leave not only financial legacy wealth, but how my grandchildren are seeing how Papa and Mimi practices life. I can't tell you that matters. So if you were that parent, do you have that passion as I do? Are you so on it that it's ridiculous for most to even be around you? That's the passion I'm talking about. It comes from what? Clarity. What do you want? Love you guys. I know I get passionate. There is no reason you can't do what Sophie and I did, but better. Better. Pass it forward. Pay it forward. Pastor Keith, Ryan, Joshua, Pastor Keith's son, touched my life. I always believed in good energy. My family believes in God. I was the only one. Thanksgiving holidays. Yeah, I bowed my head. I shut my eyes. And I was the first one to open my eyes, like, how long is this going to take? It's like, oh, my daughter did that last Thanksgiving. It was a long one. And I said, met this individual because of my friend Ryan and other people approached me about God. I wasn't just able to understand. And because of this organization has now exposed me to another chapter of my life that I'm really excited about figuring out. Because I think spiritual is real important, and we're forming this legacy plan with a lot of advisors. And we've always had this spiritual box here. Everything magically winning. And I'm a very high energy person, very vocal. I've been ignoring this. Well, they opened my eyes to it. And because of that, and I just told this to Ryan before I got on stage, I want to help you guys, man. I'm not here to sell you. I got nothing to sell you, man. Just want to express and give you my love. And if you find that skeptical, you need to look at your ecosystem and your surroundings and figure out why do you find that skeptical, because that's disgusting. There's good people out there. They want to share. They want to give. They want to help because they understand the magnitude to that. It's powerful. If you join Apex today, and I just told this to Ryan, I offered my 3 calls with me personally, the group, 1 hour each. Intense. I get really intense with my stuff. Now I'm going to bring it up to 4. You join this great organization at whatever level you want to afford, whatever you can afford. And if you're not a member here, if you decide to be a member today, you're going to be on a call with me 4 times. Doing this absolutely free for Ryan. I want to help you, man. I love this organization. Why? Something happened to me because of this organization. I accepted God. I accepted God. I know there's a Bobby out there. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm trying to figure it out, man. The Bible is really overwhelming for me. A beautiful person at an event gave me a Bible, Bobby Castro. It's just, that's something that I'm processing. I brought some books here, about 100 books, free. If you have joined Apex or will join Apex today, Danny, right here on the floor on the right side, there's books there for you for free. If you already have my book, kindly take the book, pay it forward to another Bobby or Sophie, another family member, somebody. I wrote that book with a lot of passion. I wrote the letters this big for a 9th grader like me that can read it. It's so simple, and it's raw, and it's truthful. I love each and every one of you. Thank you.
Friends and family, Bobby Castro!